The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series schedule has been released. This is yesterday, by the way. Just a quick little note, this was filmed the day before the actual schedule was released, but Jordan Bianchi, the day before, which today is actually Wednesday, August 28th, he reported the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. I am currently on the road to Darlington on Thursday the 29th. So this is my initial reaction to the schedule just a day early. So if one or two dates are flipped or something, I'll let you know in the comments. And if there's a massive change or this is nothing like the schedule, which I doubt, Jordan Bianchi's usually right about this stuff, then, well, this will be in the archives and you'll never actually see it. Anyways, here's what you came here for. The NASCAR Cup Series schedule in 2025. The Busch Clash will be held at Bowman Gray Stadium. Then, of course, the season opener at the Daytona 500 on February 16th. Just like this season, we go to Atlanta for the second race of the season, but the third race of the season will be at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Then we go to Phoenix and Vegas for the West Coast swing that has been docked a race, of course, since the death of Auto Club. And then Homestead, which has been a playoff race the past few years, has been shifted to the spring in hopes that it can potentially host the 2026 Cup Series championship date. So they would spend all the rest of the spring, summer, and fall. And then, of course, the beginning of next year, renovating the track, renovating the facility, trying to get the championship race. That's why it's no longer a playoff race, presumably. Then we would go to Martinsville. Darlington is now in the spring. Well, I guess it's in early April. You know, I'm just gonna read it off and then we'll go through each change. That would just be much easier. Bristol, Talladega, Texas, Kansas. Then we go to the All-Star race once again at North Wilkesboro, the Coca-Cola 600, Nashville, Michigan, Mexico, Pocono, Atlanta, Chicago, the street course, Sonoma, Dover, Indianapolis, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. Then we go to the playoffs. Darlington, Gateway, Bristol, New Hampshire, Kansas, the Roval, Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, Phoenix. So get yourself a good look at that schedule. Get it memorized. Get it on your calendar if you're trying to travel to races next year. And well, let's dig into some of these massive changes. So the first one I want to talk about, I didn't do a video on this because I wanted to talk about it during the schedule, but the clash at Bowman Gray. Once again, I loved the football stadium idea with the Coliseum. I would have loved to see them do it somewhere else, a market that NASCAR doesn't go to a lot, or somewhere different, or if it is somewhere they've been, somewhere unique and historic, like, a Soldier Field, for example. I know we already go to Chicago for the street race, but that's just an example. If you wanted to go to another historic city or a historic venue, maybe Lambeau Field in Wisconsin, but it's a little bit too cold that time of year. So once again, it's all has to do with geography too. And even North Carolina, it's going to be kind of cold that time of year, I think. Bowman Gray, it doesn't really excite me that much. I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to be excited for the race and whatever. But every highlight I see of Bowman Gray is just people trying to kill each other, it feels like. So I don't get why people were so mad that the Clash was at the LA Coliseum, but then they're 10 out of 10 hyped that it's coming to Bowman Gray. But I'm not mad about it, but I would have preferred them try the football stadium idea somewhere else, maybe. Try to reach a new market, try to do something different even maybe, but I don't know. It's better than Daytona. It's better than going to some cookie cutter track, I guess. So I'm not too hurt by it, but I wish it was somewhere else. But Bowman Gray, it's still cool. Curious to see how the Cup Series races there. Daytona, Atlanta, okay, starting the season with back-to-back super speedways again. And then COTA, moving up from the end of March to the beginning of March. Very interesting. I don't know what the decision is there. I don't know how it impacts anything else, but it's just weird. It's going to be weird seeing a road course that early in the season. Usually at earliest, we see it at week 5 or 6 maybe. But to see it week 3, that's going to be quite different. So we don't go to our first normal oval, our first intermediate oval, until the 4th race of the season at Phoenix. Traditionally, Vegas has been the first stop on the West Coast swing, but now it appears that it's going to be Phoenix and then Vegas. Don't know why they flip-flop those dates. Homestead in March, usually it would bother me, but since they're trying to make a run at the championship date, fine by me. Martinsville is fine there. I think they did shift it up. I think it was in April previously. Darlington goes from the beginning of May, Mother's Day weekend. They are now moved up to the beginning of April. Curious to that decision. Bristol, mid-April. That's where Texas used to be. Then we got Easter weekend off. I think the Xfinity and Truck Series might be at Rockingham. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. If they're not, then I'm just saying random stuff. Sorry to get your hopes up. Then we go to Talladega at the end of April. That's its traditional date. Texas goes from mid-April to the beginning of May. Then they go to Kansas. I think that's the normal Kansas date. That's all the same with North Wilkesboro and Charlotte. Nashville goes from the end of June to the beginning of June. I think this is a good decision. Went to that race at Nashville a couple years ago. It was extremely hot at the end of June, so maybe it'll be a little bit cooler. It's still June. You never know, but hopefully it's a little bit better. Michigan, Mexico City. First of all, Michigan previously had 2 dates. This was one of its 2 dates, but then it got reduced to 1 date, and that date was in August. They have now shifted Michigan from August back to June. Mexico, I did a video on it. I love the idea of an international race, trying to reach out to a new crowd, doing something unique. I think it's going to be really cool to see how the fans receive NASCAR, how much they pack that place. The stadium section is going to be electric. Can't wait to see also how Daniel Suarez, how many cheers he gets during the driver intros. Then we go to Pocono, June 22nd, previously in July, about mid-July. So Pocono used to have a June date back in the day. Really, back in the day was like 5 years ago. So really not that long ago. But Pocono now back in June with its single date. Atlanta is going to kick off the in-season tournament. Then we're going to go to Chicago and Sonoma. So back-to-back wild card races for this in-season tournament. That's going to be so difficult to predict. But a big thing about Sonoma, it's traditionally been at the beginning of June, but now has been shifted by over a month into July. So very curious to see how that works out, I guess. But nonetheless, there it is. Dover, which has in the past been in May, now it doesn't even get pushed back to June. It gets pushed all the way back to late July. Then Indianapolis, still the same date it was last year. Iowa goes from June, Father's Day weekend, back to the beginning of August. Watkins Glen is a playoff track this year. The race hasn't happened yet. It's now going to be a non-playoff race back to its normal date. Fine with that. Richmond is going to lose a date to Mexico City. August 16th is the expected date. That's where its second date has been held over the past few seasons, so seems normal for Richmond. And then Daytona returns to the cutoff race. Fine with that, I guess. This format promotes chaos, so why not? Let's get chaotic. Darlington's back as the playoff opener. I love the Southern 500. I love Labor Day weekend. But I will say, as a playoff race, I feel like this might be a hot take. It takes a little bit away from the pageantry, the history of the Southern 500, because all of a sudden it's, if you win this Darlington race, you advance in the playoffs. It's not, you just won the Southern 500, one of NASCAR's biggest races, one of NASCAR's toughest races to win. And I feel like, I don't know, part of me just, I'm really going to enjoy this weekend with it not being a playoff race and saying, this person advances to the round of 12. So, but maybe that's just me. But once again, I'm fine with it. It's a normal track as long as it's not a super speedway or a road course. This year's playoff schedule I don't like, but 2025 I'm fine with. Gateway into the playoffs, St. Louis. It's a normal track, so I'm fine with that, but they have a great fan turnout. Not sure what the weather is like that time of year in St. Louis. Hopefully normal, I would assume so, or else they wouldn't put it there. But it's produced some interesting racing, but curious to see how it does in the playoffs. Bristol's still a cutoff race. New Hampshire returns to the playoffs. They used to be a playoff race. A few years ago, they would have a late September date. Well, they are getting it back. That's actually going to be the opener for the round of 12. Kansas is now shifted to the middle race in the round of 12, and the Charlotte Roval is once again in cutoff. So we used to have one wild card round where it was Talladega, the Roval, and then, like a Kansas or Texas or Vegas. But now we don't have a wild card round. We have 2 rounds with 1 wild card race. The Roval is in that second round. And then the third round, Talladega. I don't like this decision, straight up. This format is fluky enough as is, and now we got to put Talladega in a race that could decide a championship spot. As for Vegas and Martinsville and Phoenix, Vegas and Martinsville are fine where they are, cool by me. Martinsville always produces an exciting cutoff race, and then Phoenix is the championship. I don't know. Do I really have to expand on it? But thanks for watching this video. If any of that schedule is different, I guess I'll have to make a new one, or I'll just tell you in the comments. But let me know what your thought is on the 2025 schedule. What do you think of which tracks are where? Who shifted to what? What do you think of, Sonoma in July, Dover in July, Iowa being moved to August, Texas being moved to May, Darlington 1 being moved to early April? Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know your thoughts on the new playoff tracks. Well, technically a return for New Hampshire, but a new one in Gateway. Talladega and the round of 8. So many changes to this year's schedule. We only have one addition, I think, in terms of tracks, and that's Mexico. I know Bowman Gray, but that's a preseason race. Mexico's the only addition, but there was a lot of shifting around with the schedule. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a difference that makes. So thanks for watching this video again. I hope you enjoyed it this weekend. I will be bringing you all sorts of coverage from Darlington, hoping to get some interviews in, hoping to get some good footage, and I will let you guys know all about that when I get to the track, and then the upload schedule is going to be random. Just assume there's going to be 20 posts a day. That's probably too much, but just get your hopes up in terms of the amount of posts.